Hey guys, back with another video, a video response to Shintai, my good friend Shintai. He did a video talking about his most memorable boss battles in a JRPG, and he tagged a few people, and he tagged me, so I thought I'd do a video response to this, and I'll tag some people at the end too. A very interesting question. I'm surprised I actually haven't done a video talking about this before, but JRPG, we're going to go with basically if it was an RPG made in Japan, it might make my top 3 here. And if this is memorable bosses, like not the most difficult or things like that, these are just boss battles I found very memorable. Now, I recently finished Undertale. I did a review on that game, and that game has a bunch of memorable bosses. But I don't really want to spoil them. They're the kind of bosses that I'd really spoil the game if I were to talk about them. So yeah, play Undertale if you want some really crazy bosses, but now there are probably going to be some spoilers in this video. I'll mention the games first, and then you can leave the video or whatnot, but I'm not going to go into too much detail as far as story with these bosses, but let's start it with Earthbound, one of my favorite games of all time, and we're going to go with the final boss, Gygus. I think that's how he's pronounced, and this boss was just really memorable to me because it's like most final bosses in JRPGs, they're very difficult. They're very long, strenuous battles where, like, sometimes they have like 3 or 4 forms. Final Fantasy games always have really crazy, epic final boss battles. Gygus is weird because the battle is kind of scary. Like the game has the game's pretty humorous and charming all the way through, but right at the end, the game gets really serious. And very dark, and this boss battle, like the background image while you're fighting him is just downright creepy, and the music is just really like eerie, and it really creates this very dark mood that's just it's really interesting. And this battle is not very difficult, but it's kind of like a puzzle battle where in order to defeat Gygus, you have to use Paula's prayer ability, and you kind of cry out for help in a way, or prayer. You kind of pray for help, and all of your friends it shows all of the people, all these kind of characters you've kind of met throughout your journey, and they kind of feel your prayer, and they root for Ness, and basically you just keep spamming prayer, and eventually you get through. Your prayers get through, and you eventually destroy Gygus. Now, the first time going through Earthbound, I was actually stuck on this boss. I didn't know what to do because Paula's prayer ability, you don't use it throughout the entire game, and every time you use it, it never really works. So it would never occurred to me that to use that ability right at the end of the game, but it was very cool. It's a very emotional ending too, but yeah, spoilers there. But that whole battle was just very memorable. A lot of really memorable bosses in that game, but I think Gygus is the most memorable of them all. Mother 3 also has a really memorable final boss, almost just as good as Earthbound, but that I feel like not many people have played Mother 3, so I'm not going to spoil the ending to that game, but a very emotional ending in that game too. But yeah, that's one of the most memorable JRPG bosses for me. The second boss is from Chrono, and this boss is Miguel. I don't want to go into too much detail. It would take forever anyways, because the story in Chrono Cross is really complex. And this is the part of the game where it starts to really get crazy, the plot. And this battle is very memorable to me, mostly for the music, actually. The song that plays during this boss battle is my favorite song on the Chrono Cross soundtrack, and the whole soundtrack is just, it's a complete masterpiece. Every song is amazing, but this song is like this really, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but it gives off like a very emotional vibe, and this boss battle is a very emotional boss battle. It's arguably the hardest battle in the game too. I think the final boss and then this other hidden optional boss are more difficult, but for me, even though I still killed him for first try, it was a fairly lengthy battle, and it was very epic. Like the song has kind of like an epic feel to it, but it's also quite sad as well, and you can kind of feel like the sadness when you're fighting this boss. But yeah, there's not too much to say about it because again, I don't really want to spoil too much about it. But I really like it for the environment you're in too. It's unlike anything you've seen previous in the game, leading up to the boss battle and during the actual fight. And it's really spectacular, and like the visuals too. play an important part for this battle as well. I think Chrono Cross is honestly probably one of the best looking PS1 games too. But yeah, it's a battle that just I found most of the boss battles weren't too memorable in Chrono Cross. The final boss, for instance, I didn't like all that much. It was like a puzzle boss that was really irritating. But Miguel, like the fight against Miguel, was fucking awesome, and I think the music is probably the main reason why. And every time I think of Chrono Cross, that's immediately what comes to mind first, is the Battle of Miguel. Top-notch stuff. And Chrono Cross is an amazing game. I highly recommend that game to anyone. I know it gets a lot of shit for, I know a lot of people don't like it as much as Chrono Trigger, but honestly, it's when I first finished that game, I kind of had Chrono Trigger ranked higher, but I think the more that I think about it, you know what? I think I might like Chrono Cross better. And I would actually come back to Chrono Cross before Chrono Trigger again, too. Not to say that Chrono Trigger is bad or anything. That's an amazing game, too, but I don't know. Chrono Cross is a fantastic game, and Miguel is certainly the most memorable boss battle in that game for me. And finally, we're going to go with a boss battle from Suikoden 2. Again, spoilers here, so if you haven't played Suikoden 2, skip ahead or watch this later. And that's Luca Blight. There's a few reasons for this being a very memorable battle to me. First, like Luca Blight is probably one of my favorite antagonists in a video game. Because he's just pure evil. This guy is so fucking hateable. Throughout the entire game, you absolutely hate this guy. He's absolutely ruthless. I find most JRPGs, the villains aren't. I never feel like they're an incredible threat. There's a lot of or I shouldn't say that. I should say I feel like a lot of them aren't super ruthless, and they don't do really despicable things constantly. But throughout this game, at pretty much any scene with Luca Blight, he's doing something so horrific, and it's honestly it was kind of surprising when I played this game. And the battle against him is this long battle where there's a few bosses before him that you have to fight all in a row. And you have different groups of your characters that you kind of have to organize. It's a very long battle, really epic music throughout this fight. But why I thought it was so memorable is because it came way before I was expecting. Luca Blight dies, I'd say, fairly quickly in the game. You fight him fairly early on. There's still a lot of game left once you've defeated him. And I was kind of surprised by that. I really thought he would be way towards the end of the game, but I want to say it might even be less than halfway through the game when you actually kill Luca Blight. But again, this battle was really satisfying because just the fact that you get to kill him is fantastic. It's just so satisfying because you hate him so goddamn much. So yeah, it was just a really satisfying, rewarding fight. Great music. It wasn't super difficult. Suikoden 2 in general, I didn't think it was a very difficult game, but it was a fun fight, and very memorable for sure. But yeah, that's it, guys. Those are my three most memorable JRPG boss battles. What are some of yours? I'd like to hear. As far as tags go, I'm gonna just name off 5 random people, I guess. Danny, Devil May Pie, Mr. RPG Crazy, Dustin Christ, Steven the Leggy Gamer, and Ball and Nick 1982. But yeah, if even if I didn't tag you or whatever, you can do a video or respond in the comments below. That would be cool. But yeah, that's it, guys. I want to thank you for watching. I'll leave the link to Shintai's video too. You can check out his. He had some really great choices too. There's a lot of boss battles in the Souls games, for instance, that I'd put on this top 3 of sorts. But yeah, anyways, that's it, guys. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.